Welcome, everyone. Today is going to be a really fun show, and we're going to talk about really common solution architect career mistakes because I don't want you to make any of these very common cloud architect and solution architect career mistakes because I want you all getting cloud hired. So tonight we'll talk about cloud architect career mistakes, solution architect career mistakes. What is a cloud architect? Cloud architects versus cloud engineers, cloud certification and how you can use that and how it can hurt you, but how it can help you if you do it right. We'll talk about building a cloud architect brand, or at least I will. My team will talk about some other really cool stuff as well. We'll talk about cloud architect skills, solution architect skills, cloud engineer skills if you want. Because I want you to know cloud architecture. I want you to know how to get that cloud architect job. And we're going to talk about tech career mistakes, cloud engineer mistakes, and of course, we'll have a lot of fun doing it. So today, what is the channel? Let me introduce the panel. My name is Michael Gibbs, and I'm the founder and CEO of Go Cloud Careers and Go Cloud Architects. And let's face it, I've been working in technology now for 25 years, helping others get their first tech job or get promoted in tech for more than 2 decades. And I want to get all of you, literally all of you, cloud hired or cloud promoted. You may be now noticing I'm bouncing off the wells. 3 of my students got hired today. One was a psychologist who got our first cloud architect job, which makes me really happy. Someone was a software developer, which had a tech background, and the other person did not either. So I'm super excited about it, and that's what I live for, getting people cloud hired.
Yes.
Tonight on my team, I'm an expert and I'm a specialist, and I'm going to talk about being a specialist. I know 3 things in life. I know how to practice medicine. I know how to design solutions as an architect, and I know how to get people hired. And for the most part, other than that, I don't know anything. Chris was at my house one day and he says, Mike, I said, Chris, you're here. I got to put this new thing together. Do you know how to use a screwdriver? And he laughs and he says, of course I do. I said, I don't. I know 3 things in life, and I'm real good at them, and that's all I know. And I spent my life focusing on that. So we're going to talk about that from my perspective. We have
Mike. I should have had you come and help me build my cabinets today.
I actually should have and would have. I'd have loved to get my little hands dirty over here. It would have been a good experience for me. And I think that would have been great. But I spent my life focused on one thing, and I'm going to talk about that. On the call with me, we've got my Chief Operating Officer, Christopher Johnson, who's fantastic. And he's going to add so much, and he'll introduce. And I've got my Chief Marketing and Content Officer, Alonzo, with me. He's got a huge business background and a tech background and a program leader background. He's managed large cloud projects. And we are real lucky, and we're going to have a good, fun time today. Before we begin, I got to tell you about some 3 things we're doing to help your career. We're running a subnetting and BGP workshop this week. Subnetting is the foundational skill. BGP is important. Tomorrow, I'll release another article that's been published in a magazine on BGP hijacking because people come to me from all over the world to ask me about my BGP perspectives. And I'm going to teach you for free my BGP background, which has more than 10,000 hours of background in just BGP. I'm going to tell you a secret, and it's a real secret. Albert Einstein says it. When you watch a certification course and you hear blah, 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 blah. You know it in the PowerPoint slides with audio. Do you know why it's blah, blah, blah? Because the person who's teaching it doesn't know it. As Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't know it enough. So, to that end, subnetting workshop, BGP workshop. And if that's not enough for you, next week, I'm going to do another free AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate Bootcamp. Why are we going to do it? I'm going to tell you right now. A good boot camp, the kind you can get from Global Knowledge or Cisco or Amazon, is a good $5,000 for the week. And then most people in the world can't afford it. So they resort to these garbage PowerPoint slides with audio boot camps, audio background, and nobody's getting hired from that. I can tell you why. I interviewed 1,000 people that have done it. That's why I decided to come out of retirement and do it. And we're going to do it completely free for you because I want you all getting hired. By the time you're done, you won't just know the name of a proprietary service and how to configure it. You'll know what it is, how it works, why to use it, and how to use it to transform a customer's business. So join us, sign up. The link for my team is in the description. And that's not enough. I got more free stuff to help you.
But wait, there's more.
And every Thursday, I have a completely free How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar. And we do it live. It's lots of fun. I tell you how to get what you need to know, what needs to be on your resume, etc., etc., what hiring managers want, etc., all kinds of good stuff. And we'll do it all free. And guess what? It'll be on Zoom, so you can ask questions of me. And if we run out of time, you can ask questions to Alonzo because he's an expert as well. So we'll make sure we answer all your questions. It'll be a great time. Now, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to my team, and then we'll get into the fun. So, solution architect career mistakes, cloud architect career mistakes, tech career optimization, tech career mistakes, general career mistakes in general, and how do you optimize your career. So tonight, we're going to have lots and lots of fun. Chris, let me turn it to you for a minute.
All right. Well, in case you can't tell, I'm feeling better. I'm over my COVID. I have done 3 memeable things in the past 3 minutes, apparently. I tried to do my best Ric Flair woo impression.
That was a good one.
Yeah, and let me get this banner off my face. Here we go. All right. So, yeah, I tried to do my Ric Flair impression. And then Mike decided to start making me think about the teacher on Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah.
I was thinking about that too.
So I need to get that sound effect. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah. And then what else? I don't even know what I want to talk about. I got a couple of ideas about some mistakes that people can make, mainly because I've made some of them, and I've seen others that have worked with me or for me that have made some of these mistakes. But there was one other thing that I had on my mind, and I can't remember it right now. I did the Ric Flair. I did the wah, wah, wah. I don't know. There was something else. I can't remember.
It'll come to you.
I'm feeling good. I am feeling good. I am back. Last week, Mike was back, and I was kind of just there. This
like
week,
I'm crew around here.
Yeah, but we're
guys, just to let you guys keep that in Florida.
Yeah,
you
we're 3 hours from each other, so there's nothing.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
I'll just take the T-shirt instead.
Yeah. We'll mail you a T-shirt, and you can stay over there in the great state of Texas, or Republic, or whatever you guys are. I don't know. But, all right. Well, I'm back. I'm excited. We've got a lot of cloud hires. I can't say any names yet because they're still waiting on backgrounds and all that stuff, but.
And I got a buddy of mine in the West Indies that has an offer right now. It's all kinds of exciting, and that's not even in the 3.
Yeah. Somebody from Oceania over there in that water world over there in the Southern Hemisphere. A couple of people here in the North America. Yeah, all over the place.
Yeah,
so that's exciting.
New Zealand.
Yeah, so I'll give it to you, Alonzo, because apparently I don't bring anything of importance to the discussion except Ric Flair woos.
Well, that was good for me. So, I guess I feel kind of bad because while my friends and teammates were sick with COVID, I was able to enjoy my 10-year anniversary with my wife in Jamaica. So I feel kind of bad about that. But the awesome thing about it is that they're back. We're back. Everyone's healthy, and that's what I'm happy about. But I'm also excited about all these new cloud hires. Like I said, our lips are sealed. We cannot say anything. But with everything that's happening and given the climate of what's happening in the economy, all this unusual stuff that's really, really affecting everyone's opportunities. And yet still we're thriving here at Go Cloud Careers. People are getting cloud hired every day across the world, global perspective. So that is what gets me really, really excited. That's what I'm really hyped about. So I'm here. I'm finally here. We finally have a chance for all of us to be together, all 3 of us. So I'm ready to have a podcast that we have not had in a long time, and I'm ready to get it started. So, Mike, what do you have to say about that?
I think it's fun time. Let's start talking about it. I'm going to add my most critical mistakes first.
Hold on, time out. Before you get started, I want to ask people for a hashtag, but I don't know what to ask them for.
Give me a hashtag solution architect.
Yeah, that'll work.
Because that's a term I don't usually use for reasons, but give me a hashtag solution architect.
All right, trigger that different algorithm for us. Perfect. All right, hashtag solution architect.
Which?
And before you get started, Mike, do you know who Ric Flair is?
No.
Okay, we will address this. We will address this outside.
Woo!
I think this is great. What do I know? Internal medicine, architecture, and how to get people hired or promoted. That's all I know.
Oh, we will take care of the Ric Flair thing.
We'll
take care of it, but we don't talk about.
So that you understand what I'm referring to. You'll get it afterwards. And as Rohan appropriately says, no more caffeine for me.
No more caffeine.
Well, you're gonna have to work really hard.
It's gonna be a caffeine infused podcast today.
So let me do this, Mike. The floor is yours.
I'm gonna focus on the cloud architect career mistakes and the tech career mistakes. My other team is gonna focus on professional career mistakes. Guess what? You need to know them all. But mine is based on my 25-year career, things that my executive coaches have helped me, which made a massive difference in my career, the 5,000 plus interviews I've done on people, and how hard it is to hire somebody. I'm going to tell you right now, the biggest mistake I see, or at least one of them, is when people apply for a job, they don't know what the job is. And they learn almost everything. So about a year and a half ago, before I decided to come out of retirement to create this company, and I've been coaching people forever, and it was private coaching, etc. I had a very simple plan. I trained people exactly for the job they wanted. Some kid would come out of high school. He'd be in high school. Next thing you know, he's a network engineer at one of the world's biggest internet service providers working at Cisco, etc. No experience. They didn't have to start at help desk ever. I don't advise anybody to do it unless they want to. They didn't be a network admin. They had good, strong jobs. 3 years later, they're earning $250,000 a year, and they're doing great because they started right. But here's the thing. I taught them their job. What did they know? Their job. What did they not know? Anybody else's job other than their job. So the biggest cloud architect career mistake I have right now is people don't study architecture. And I can see them every day. The biggest mistake is the 10x AWS certified person, and here's the reason why. They are a hobbyist. They're what's called a cloud enthusiast. They learn a little of this, a little of this, a little of this, a little of this, a little of this. And when you ask them questions, they don't know anything. And not only do they not know, they don't even know what they don't know. And here's the reason why. When I became a Cisco certified network associate about 25 years ago, I thought I knew networking. It was cool. Then nobody would hire me, so I became a Cisco certified network professional. And I thought maybe I know networking. Oh, this networking thing's kind of big, but I kind of know it. Then I became a Cisco certified internet expert. My number is 7417. Back when it was a 2-day exam, before Cisco had to make the exam easy because the failure rate was too high. I passed that exam. Now I'm an expert, right? That was my entry-level certification. At that point, I realized exactly how much networking I did not know. And I spent 25 years learning networking. After that, that was my intro to networking. That was my entry-level certification. So that's what it takes to be good. That's what it takes to get hired, paid more, and promoted. So here's what happens. People need to know their job. And here's what it's like. And Alonzo and I are going to make a video. And just to help you all, I made a video on how to interview to get hired. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I've never been on an interview that I didn't get the job offer. Never. So, but in the video, I'm going to say 90%, and here's the reason why. What if I forgot one? But here's the thing. I've never been on an interview that I didn't get hired. There's nothing special about me, but I do know how to win. So the advice I'm going to give you now is going to be how to win. And that video, which I'm going to teach you about, which is coming soon, is going to teach you how to master the interview. And Alonzo and I are going to do a demo interview of what it's like interviewing potential cloud architects and solution architects. Because you're all getting hired, all of you, if you follow our channel and do what we recommend. So the first mistake is as follows. I ask someone, I've got 2 equal cost direct connections to the cloud. And it's somebody that's 10x AWS certified. How do you load share without getting out of your packets? I have a DevOps certification is the response. I'm like, yeah, interesting. Okay. How does this work? Well, maybe use a load balancer. And I'm like, well, this is BGP. I don't know what that is. Okay. So then the next question I ask them, could you tell me the difference between block storage and object storage? What they are, how they work, and why I should use them? Yes. Object storage is S3 and block storage is EBS. Okay, what are they? Huh? Tell me, what is block storage? How does it work? Tell me about, how it's architected. Tell me about the metadata. Tell me about how it works. And they say, I don't know. I can configure it. I know. Oh, good. Okay, great. So they can't design a storage solution because I don't know it. Then I say, tell me a NoSQL database that I can use across 3 clouds. And my write traffic is heavier than my read traffic. And they say, I know. I can use DynamoDB. Can't use it when you've got multiple clouds because it's proprietary. And then I ask them a question and say, how would you architect your security? And they say, WAF and Shield. And I say, wait, we won't be using WAF. And what about this? And they have no idea. That's what it's really like. I ask someone a question and they say, I've got a certification. I'm like, okay. I ask someone a question and they know the name of a service. They can tell me they can configure it. And I say, okay, but you're here for a solution architect interview. Here's what you need to do in your job. Design the solution based upon what the customer's requirements are. Huh? Present that the solution to the customer. And they say, huh? Sell it to the customer. And they're like, but I can configure it. And I say, good. As an architect, you'll never touch the technology in your life. And that's the problem. People are learning every other skill. What do architects not do? We don't code. Python is not our skill. Terraform is not our skill. SysOps is not our skill. DevOps is not our skill. Here's the reason. It's not there. Now, what's going to happen when you go to the interview? You got all these certifications on your resume. You're going to get asked questions on all this other stuff, which you don't know. Here's the thing. To be a competent cloud architect, a competent DevOps engineer, a competent SysOps engineer, you could spend 30 or 40 or 50 years in each one of these things to be great. What you can't do is be good at all of them. And here's what happens. When you try to learn everything, the net effect is you know nothing about anything. So when people say, and I get people reach out to me every day, Mike, I'm 7x AWS certified. I'd like to be an instructor. And I'm saying, I'm sorry, I don't hire anybody with more than 3 certifications. I hire experts. And they're like, but I got a certification. I know. And then I waste my time and I say, okay, could you tell me how to architect this? And in 3 seconds, they prove to me they know absolutely zero. And I say, now you see why I don't interview with anybody with certifications. Now, it's worse than this. It's worse than this. While you're learning everybody else's job, do you know what your competition is? Learning your job. I got 2 Olympic gymnasts. One is Simone Biles, and all she does is gymnastics. Gymnastics, power training, mobility training, speed training, agility training, gymnastics. Now I got another gymnast. This person likes CrossFit. And he or she runs one day, rides a bike the next day, does the battle ropes the day after that. Then they're doing some martial arts class, and they do gymnastics for 2 hours twice a week. So I got the world champion that's spending 8 hours a day in their field, and a hobbyist that's doing a little of everything. Who gets the gold medal? Simone Biles. The hobbyist doesn't even make it to the Olympics. The reality is they don't even make it to the tryout team. They're not good enough because they're there. So here's the thing. Your competition will be preparing to beat you. If you're not preparing to win, you're going to lose. Here's the next thing. I saw today, somebody reached out to me. I'm a cloud admin, a cloud engineer, and a cloud architect. I'm going to tell you right now, Alonzo, why can't I hire this person? Why will I never even talk to this person?
Well, let's start there. You can't, my best analogy, you can't be in 3 boats at the same time. You have to choose
Exactly.
one. You have to decide on what role you want to participate in, what you want to perfect, and you focus on that. You dedicate the time, you dedicate the skill set, you dedicate all your time to understand the nuances, be able to understand how the role is, what you need to do with it, how you need to enhance yourself, what are the components that you need to understand so that you can be a better architect instead of an engineer. I'm not going to, like to say it, like the post that we put. If I'm going to be a pilot, I want to be the best pilot I can. If I have aviator skills from the military and I'm able to transition that into civilian life and continue to hone my craft, I'm not going to spend it being a dentist. I'm not going to spend it being a captain of a ship. I'm going to focus on my explicit skill set and be the best architect that I can be.
Exactly. Want to know why it's even worse than that?
Yeah.
Cloud admin, cloud engineer, cloud architect. When I see that, I know the person doesn't even know what any of these jobs are.
And that's the main problem all the time, is that they, in case in point, and early on, it's like, okay, like the example that you have, it's like, okay, block storage is not EBS, it's not elastic block storage. Okay, you can't refer to proprietary stuff and think it encompasses the entire architecture, let alone all the technology out there. So you have to understand the underlying agnostic cloud to be successful for any interview.
Exactly. You need to understand what's going on under the hood. And here's the thing. When the cloud provider has a new press release, it says exciting new technology. Like last year, AWS announced routing between subnets. Now, if I'm an architect and I go to a chief information officer and say, woohoo, good news, AWS allows routing between subnets. They say east-west routing, as they put it, because it's more complicated to obfuscate what it was. The CIO would say, yes, Michael, it was nice to meet you. I'll tell your manager you're fired and your replacement will thank you for the job. And here's the reason why. Cisco was doing it in 1985. So you can't talk about new technology. And if you don't know what it is that you're designing, I promise you'll make a fool out of yourself in a week. A principal architect at AWS last week announced, AWS allows IPsec over direct connection. This is big, big, big. And I asked 6 CCIs. They said, I'm not crazy. Does 1998 want its technology back? And they laughed. They said, yep, I did this in 1998. IPsec over a private line. It's amazing. So there's that. So keep that in the back of your mind. So first, when you speak to a customer as an architect, your goal is to be a trusted advisor. They must trust you. They must know that you have the business acumen, the leadership skills, etc., and the knowledge and capabilities to ask about their business and design a solution. This is why I hate reference architectures. And here's why. The business drives the solution. Business one operates in a certain way, and their technology needs to be different than business B because we're trying to optimize the workflow. Any of you folks familiar with Michael Porter's from Harvard work on people, process, and technology in terms of optimizing organizations? Well, that's the thing. It's people, processes, and technology. You get the people and the process wrong, you get the technology wrong, and it's an absolute disaster. I see Aqua there. Aqua, I know you're recently cloud hired. Congratulations and welcome back. We're so happy to see you here on that chat box. So there's that. Now, here's the thing. What most people don't do in tech is they don't focus on the most critical, highest value skills. So let's say you're an architect and you master the network and the data center because that makes you a competent cloud architect. And you get another certification in something that's architecture. Is that going to raise your salary? It won't. It won't at all. I've spoken to thousands of hiring managers and I ask them, do you care about certifications? And they say, Mike, here's what I want. I want someone that can do the job and not tell me about their silly certifications. I want someone that I can trust. I want someone that's energetic, enthusiastic, and passionate. I want someone that raises the energy in the room, that's emotionally intelligent. Mike, I need a team player and I need people to stop asking me about work-life balance. I don't want lazy people. I want motivated winners. That's what employers tell me. So you get another certification and the employer looks at that and like, yeah. Okay, great. So you've wasted your time on that. Here's the thing. Do you know your most valuable skills? Your communication skills. You can't be an architect. A cloud architect communication skills are the most critical thing. Here's why. Are any of you guys software developers in your past life and you know that garbage in means garbage out? If you've got garbage information, your solution will be wrong. So the biggest solution architect career mistake is they don't focus on their communication skills. Now wait, the job of a solution architect or a cloud architect is to design, present, and sell. Your design is 100% critically based upon your communication skills or your ability to get the right information. By the way, your soft skills determine whether you can ask the questions without offending your client. Your emotional intelligence determines can you raise the energy in the room, ask the right question. Your leadership skills for this position are critical because I'm going to promise you this. You're never in your life going to design an architecture on your own. You will always have to build a team, sell the management in your company to give you these resources, lead the team, and collaborate. And here's the reason why. Companies know that you can't know everything. So a cloud network architect needs to know cloud networking, BGP in depth, traffic engineering in depth, VPC routing in depth, micro segmentation, and I could go on, performance tuning. We could go on networking all day. And trust me, it'd be fun because I'm a geek when it comes to networking and I love it. But that's the key. They want to know that. That person that can do that is valuable to me. So I need to bring them on my team if that's not my role. Hey, wait, there's security. Now, an AWS Advanced Security isn't even an intro to an intro to an intro to intro to a junior level networking. It's a joke in terms of security knowledge. That's why it's 200 pages or 300 pages. It's an intro of all their proprietary solutions and how to use all their proprietary solutions, which guess what? Your customers don't want. They want something that's interoperable through clouds. 87% of customers have 2 or more clouds. So they want someone that knows security. I need that person on my team. Hey, wait, identity and access management, that's a specialty. I need that person on my team. Now I got a big data environment. I need the data scientists, right? They know that better than I do. I need some big data architects. They know that better than I do. Now about databases. Well, let me get a database administrator that knows databases on my team. You see what I'm doing? I'm building a team of experts. Look at a SEAL team. Why are the SEALs so good? Is everybody have the same skill? No. There's a sniper who does their thing with Overwatch. There's a breacher that breaks into the door. There's a team lead. There's somebody that's an expert on the explosives and demolition. That way, everybody's a little bit cross-trained, but you use the specialist and the expert to do their job. That's why they're invincible, almost unstoppable. So it's the same thing, It's the same thing we're going at. And we see people get overwhelmed for the following reasons. They're trying to learn everybody else's job. And I know what you're going to say. Hey, wait, look at these job descriptions. I'm going to tell you right now, job descriptions are a joke. And they always have been. I have never had more than 10 to 20% of the skills in a job description. And I've never been on an interview where I haven't been hired. The job description is, I like to call it an HR wish list. And here's why. Here's what goes on. The average employer gets 5,000 applications for a single job. 5,000 applications for a single job. Now let's think about this. Let's pretend, for example, you're AWS and you have 25,000 open positions and you get 5,000 positions for a single job. If some math person were to multiply 5,000 times 25,000, you can see the amount of applications they get on a repeat basis. Now, unless Amazon wants to hire 10 million HR people, they've got nobody that can look through it. So they run a scanner and the whole goal is weed out everybody that doesn't look good in paper. Seems good, right? Well, here's the problem. HR weeds them out and HR has no idea what we do. HR can't determine Alonzo's competency because they don't know anything other than, what kind of people to hire based upon culture and fit and what to pay them. So now they send me the hiring manager people and I can't hire any of them. So I call my favorite recruiter. I tell the recruiter exactly what they need. They send me somebody and I hire them. And that's, I've gotten almost every job. I've never applied for a job in my life. Recruiters have gotten them all for me. That's not true. One time, and this is embarrassing, I had bought a Mac Pro, back the G4 one, when it had 2 CPUs in it. And somehow my wife, back 20-some years ago, let me buy a $3,000 computer and like a $1,500 studio complete because she thought it was cute. And it was so cute that she decided to use it and send my resume to Cisco while I was in Dubai. And while I was in Dubai, I worked in Dubai, went to Reading, UK, and I get a call from a hiring manager at Cisco. Hey, about your resume. And I went, I'm like, oh, okay, I know what happened. I took it. I'm like, I'll be in the US for the next 3 days. I met with him, and 2 of those days I was hired on the spot. And I spent about a decade at Cisco, and it was the best time of my life. I loved it. But the key was they interviewed me. Mike, do you know this? No. Mike, do you know this? No. Mike, what are your skills? IP multicast, BGP, OSPF, PIM-Spire Densma, which is part of multicast, how to design a solution, how to present, and how to sell. I was hired by the second day. They interviewed me and they said, Mike, here's the question for you. Can you come to breakfast tomorrow? And can you deliver a presentation tomorrow? It could be, I know it's on short notice. You can be on anything you're an expert on. And I delivered the presentation. While I delivered the presentation, they wanted to know my emotional intelligence, my leadership, my communication abilities, my sales skills, because I couldn't do the job without it. And while I did it, they started a fight to see if I could control the room. At some point midway through the presentation, they're like, Mike, wow, done. We're going to make you an offer. During the presentation. And here's the reason why. They loved the way I controlled the argument that they started. They loved the way I presented. They said, oh my God, Mike, you took us immediately to the solution and then you explained the substantiating evidence, just like an executive, just like a strategy consultant, just like that. And you know what? You know how engineers describe it? Here's the problem, 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 here's the solution. Now, in engineering, that's great. But in architecture, it's the exact opposite of what you need to do. So it's really about training for your job versus somebody else's job. And I'm going to turn it over to my team in a minute, but really that's the key. In my 5,000 interviews, I know I've hired 10 people. Now, believe it or not, 5 of those people knew nothing about the technology at all and knew nothing about the job. And why did I hire them? Because they had the right attitude, energy, enthusiasm, and I trusted them, and I felt good about them, and I hired them. And as an educator and a coach, I trained them. One's the CEO of a company now, but they all did well because I look for what's inside somebody. I don't care what they know. I care what they can know. I'm a coach. What is the potential of Chris? What is the potential of Alonzo? I'm going to tell you, it's unstoppable. That's why they're on my team. It's unstoppable. So these are things that hiring managers really want. Now, I'm going to make it clear to you the difference between a cloud architect versus a cloud engineer, and we're going to get the rest of my team and why this is so important. And I'm going to tell you right now, architects, 90% of organizations design, present, and sell, pre-sales and post-sales. And when you study anything other than that, you convince them they can't hire you. I'm going to give you another list of skills, and then we'll go to the rest of my team for this reason. A cloud architect designs a solution. I meet with the CEO, CFO, CIO, CTO. I ask them about their business. The same way a doctor asks a patient question, same way a managed consultant asks a question. From there, I bring in a team of engineers, really smart people to go baseline the systems. I then go back to my organization. I build a team. Together, we design the solution. I go back to the customer. I present it to them. I write 3 documents, one for the executives, one for the management, and one for the engineers. I go back and sell it, and I negotiate the sales team. I sell it with the account managers and the account team. That's my job. I don't know. Here's the thing. Once the customer says, I want it, I say, thank you so much, and I go away. Just like the building architect. If I want to hire an architect to design a hotel, Chris knows lots of hotels. I want a 5-star hotel. I need 3 restaurants, 2 pools, a waterfall, 1,000 rooms, 1,000 meters tall, beautiful gardens and a golf course. I tell the architect I want that. That's what I tell the architect. This is what I want. He or she, they make beautiful designs, computer-aided designs, today's world, blueprints, and then they probably 3D print out a model of it. And they bring it back to me and I say, I want to build this hotel. So then I hire a general manager like Chris, and he hires a construction crew. And he makes sure the construction crew builds it. Is it an advantage for the architect to know how to drill? No. What if the architect can use a hammer? Is that going to help him? No. He's not a construction worker. It's a non-useful skill for him. Now, here's the thing. If that architect spent all this time learning construction, what do they not have time to learn? Architecture. So would I ever go to them? No, because they're going to be a hobbyist architect and a halfway construction worker. Now, once I build the design, this is cloud architect versus cloud engineer, somebody has to build it. It has to be made. Otherwise, it's PowerPointware, and that's no good. I love cloud engineers. They are the secret behind everything that's working. Now, that cloud engineer needs to build it. Does that cloud engineer need to configure? Yeah, you betcha. Does that cloud engineer need to code? You better believe it. They must know Python at minimum, Bash scripting at minimum. Does the cloud engineer need to know Linux? Yeah, you betcha, because what are most systems in the internet? Linux. Does that cloud engineer need to know infrastructure as code? Yeah, you betcha. they need to know Terraform, not proprietary things like CloudFormation. Who would use that in today's world anyway? You can use Terraform across all your clouds. So as you can see, if an architect can code, configure, knows Terraform, etc., and they try to tell me that on an architect interview, I'm like, yeah, but I don't need it. So let's think about it this way. I'm a cat person. Chris is a cat person. I loved animals, all of them. But if you wanted a cat, if you had a daughter that wanted a cat, and she wanted an orange cat, an orange tabby cat. I like orange cats. You had a daughter that wanted an orange cat, and you go to the pet store, and your daughter wants an orange cat more than anything else. And you see a beautiful golden retriever, sweet, loving dog, good fur, nice tail. Is your daughter going to be happy with the golden retriever? No, she wants a cat. And that's the thing. That's why this is so critical. I've interviewed 5,000 people, and 99% of the time, somebody has every other skill than I want. If I want a cat, I get a cat. If I want a dog, I get a dog. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind. So some of the biggest cloud architect career mistakes, tech career mistakes, solution architect career mistakes are just this, being prepared for everybody else's job. Now, I told you the job. Now, if I told you you have to sell a solution, do you think sales skills are critical? Yeah, that's a cloud architect career skill. You won't even get hired without a presentation. The cloud architect presentation skills are critical. That's a critical cloud architect skill. Now, you designed $1 billion solution for a customer. And that's what it's going to take sometimes. I've done a lot of these. Is the customer going to say, here's my checkbook, let me write you $1 billion check? No. Is the customer excited by technology? No, the technology is a tool. You have to build the business case with an ROI model, return on investment capital model, to show the customer that your solution costs more business value than it costs. So you need the business acumen to do that. Now, the CEO tells you they want to increase sales. And if you've got certification knowledge, do you know how to increase sales? No. But if you have business acumen, you know the tools that a business has. How do we increase sales? How do we cut expenses? How do we increase productivity? You need that business acumen. Now, I've seen it all the time, and I've seen more people get fired for trying this. They walk into the CEO's room and say, router BGP 65312, network 192.168.1.1, remote AS 65313. Somebody says, what is this BGP protocol? And they talk about how they configure it. Does the CEO care about that? No. Does the CEO care about, look, the reason we're going to use BGP is as follows. I want to connect you to 4 internet service providers so you get maximum speed and maximum performance. And if one of your internet service providers goes down, you'll have 3 more to back you up. Therefore, you'll be selling. And your website, which does $100 million a week of sales, won't be down losing business. That's CXO relevance. You must be CXO relevant. So when it comes to how to become a cloud architect, how to become a solution architect, how to maximize your career, there's that. Now I'm going to end on 3 things, and we'll get to Alonzo or Chris, whichever the order is. If I told you that on average, statistically speaking, learning soft skills, which you can't get an architect job without them anyway, but mastering soft skills will raise your salary by 30%. And that's true. And an average architect earns about $156,000 a year, $160,000. If you add 30% to that, that's $55,000 a year from learning soft skills. Now, you get a SysOps certification as an architect, and it makes you worth less because it causes brand confusion that makes the hiring manager think you're less of an architect. So do you want to raise your salary or do you want to lower your salary? I want to raise mine. Guess what? If I told you that emotional intelligence on the average career, meaning not tech, which pays more, raises the average person's salary by $29,600 per year. Whoa, let's think about that. $50,000 plus for soft skills, $30,000 plus for emotional intelligence. Now we're at $80,000 a year. Hey, I can sell you the SysOps course. You can spend all this time to lower your salary, or you can learn soft skills, emotional intelligence, and raise your salary by $80,000 a year. Oh, wait, you need those skills to get promoted. And anybody good at math here? I'm not, but I'm good at arithmetic. $30,000 times, or $80,000 times 30 years, $2.4 million different. Do you want to know where your retirement's coming from? It's coming from right there. That's how I retired at 34 when I had to because I got injured. I only came out of retirement for one reason. Here's the reason, and here's why we do free training. And we'll talk more about it tomorrow, and then it's time to go to my team. I did the following. I was asked by my friend, would you train my kid in what's the most important thing out there? So when he graduates college, he can get the best job just like your other people. And I said, sure, Nick, you're a friend. And I said, I'll do it free because he's a friend. And the guy had given me rental space in a warehouse that I had Bitcoin mining operation going on. So we were friends and I owed him, he owed me. I bought him the 3 top-selling certification courses. You know who those characters are. I won't name their names. It would be disrespectful. Would you believe after 3 days, he calls me up and he says, Mike, I set up an EC2 instance and an S3 bucket. What are they? And I literally said, what do you mean, what are they, you lazy slob? I said, I bought you the 3 best-selling programs. And he said, Mike, I know how to configure it. I'm doing all this learn by doing. I'm like, architecture learn by doing? He said, yeah, I'm doing architecture learn by doing. What is it? If I tell you, I watched these 3 horrible courses, which were PowerPoint slides with audio, which taught the name of a service and how to configure it, but not even what it was. That's when I said, we're going to write a book and give it away for free. That's when we started doing free AWS training. And that's why we do it almost every month or every month. We have a free boot camp for you. So I want you all getting hired. So now you know the biggest cloud architect career mistakes I've seen, the biggest solution architect career mistakes, and even the biggest cloud engineer career mistakes. Instead of learning cloud engineering, they're often learning other people's jobs. So that's from me. That comes from my 25 years background, and I get people hired every single day and paid more than almost anybody out there does. So either Chris or Alonzo, why don't you take it next with the things that you've seen in your career? Because you're all leaders. You've all managed lots of people.
So first thing I have to say is I hope you enjoyed that, Mike. That is the longest uninterrupted amount of time I am going to give you.
I don't know. I just kept babbling. It was fun to talk.
No, it was great stuff. Yeah. We were engaged, and everyone else was too.
It was great. Like there was no wah at all during that.
Because it's where they know.
But I just want to make sure you're aware. Don't get used to that. I will MC the heck out of this in the future if I need to. But,
you probably need to, so you take charge of it.
But I wanted to make sure you were aware that you as Chris Nike says, can Mike just keep feeding us? So but yeah, so that those were some great insights that I'm glad that you shared with us. But I will go ahead, and if anybody has seen the favorite books episode, you know that I am not a prepared kind of guy. So I'm going to do the same thing I did on that episode, and I'm going to delay, and let Alonzo go next. But before we do that, I do want to bring in there was a couple of questions that I saw. I want to do a few of them right now. But of course we'll do the rest of them at the end. But give me just 1 second. Where did it go?
One on the cloud architect or solution architect internship, cloud architect internship, and I can explain why that will never be possible outside of our organization.
Yeah, go ahead and start addressing it while I find that one.
So someone asked, can I just volunteer and work for free as a cloud architect? And the answer is no, unless you do it with us. And here's the reason why. If you're a cloud architect or solution architect and you're trying to do things, you got to go to the CEO of multi-billion-dollar companies. And nobody's going to put you in front of the CEO of multi-billion-dollar companies because the chances are you will get that company kicked out of there as fast as possible unless you have a lot of business acumen. What's worse than that? As an architect, we redesign somebody's company. And you can't learn how to design somebody else's business on the fly. If you do, here's what's going to happen. You will create a design flaw because you don't know what you don't and don't know what you don't know yet. That will cause billions of dollars of damage. So while you think you're working for free, you're damaging another business. Now, here's the other reason. A good architect is $200,000 to $300,000 a year. A good one. A great one is $500,000 a year plus. But let's say we've got a $250,000 engineer. Why do we need a $250,000 engineer to work with an intern? Because they're the ones that know it well enough to explain the job well enough. So if I have to dedicate 50% of a $250,000 engineer's time to go do an internship for someone that wants to work free, that intern cost me $125,000 that year. So there's none because it's too dangerous. So what do? I create real internships, and I do it as follows. I have a data center where my students get to design and build their own clouds from scratch. I have a data center where my students build their virtual machines. They build firewalls. They build VPN concentrators. They build file servers. They build it all, Active Directory servers. And in the process of learning what this is and experimenting in my data center, they get to learn it in a test environment, and they get to do real architecture projects. And I give them real things to do. Some of my students are writing a Google Professional Cloud Architect book right now because I want to get them published because architects are published. My last book on passing the AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional exam, my students did it, so they're architects. So I create internships and for people, and that's one of the many, many reasons our students are so successful at getting hired. But we're dedicating a $2,000 server to a student to do this. We built a data center for this, and I've got a team of 7 people now in total in this company. And 4 or 5 of them are always responding to students and answering questions. So that's the key. It takes a lot to mentor people. It's a lot of money to do it. So that's why you can't just need it. But here's the thing, Money Mike, unless you have ever sold anything greater than $20 million, you don't know what you don't know yet. Unless you've ever presented to the CEO of a Fortune 100 company, you don't know what you don't know yet. Unless you've ever negotiated a deal above $30 million or a critical negotiation, you don't know what you don't know yet. Unless you know BGP, OSPF, et cetera, and network in the data center, how to design them, how to design data centers, you don't know what you don't know yet. If your training is the basic AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional, which is nothing, here's the name of the service and how to configure that, and then someone tells you about their 40,000 remote locations, which is normal, and their 50,000 subnets, and their BGP environment, and their software-defined networking WAN, and the storage performance that they need because block storage is so slow. I don't care what's in your AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional exam, it's pathetically slow, and you have to work around things in block storage to make it work right. If you don't know how to put multiple next-generation firewalls in a cloud, because we're not going to be using WAF, and how to front-end them by load balancers, and how to design a system that's not going to get hacked, you don't know what you don't know yet. And that's really the thing why nobody can do this. Now, Money Mike, if you're a network architect, you know what you know already. If you're an enterprise architect, you know. But if all you have is the basic things like the AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional or the Azure Solutions Architect Expert, you don't even know what you don't know. But here's the thing. Come to our thing on Thursday, the free webinar, and it'll tell you everything you need to know to get hired.
All right, Mike sensed I was going to be cutting him off as promised. So good job there, Mike. All right, so a couple of the other questions I wanted to make sure we got to is from Rohan here. He says, I've heard people say that it's important for an architect to troubleshoot an issue caused by flaws in designs that they created. Do you agree?
Okay, Rohan, so now I'm an architect. I've designed a solution and sold it to a bank in New Jersey. Now I'm in Dubai. I'm meeting with a sheikh. I'm not troubleshooting. Now, here's what's going to happen. There's going to be a tech support team that works for the company. Say it's Amazon. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. When that fails, they're going to escalate to a cloud engineer who's going to have all the hands-on tech skills. Now, occasionally, they may ask you a question. And here's what you're going to do troubleshooting on as a cloud architect. You're going to fly to that customer site. You're going to take people to Morton's Steakhouse and buy them Silver Oak wine, shots on a Callan 25, spend 10 grand on dinner to make them happy. You're going to be in there doing relationship management skills. And if it really matters, the company is going to put like a CAP manager or a relationship manager. And your job then is to go there and to call people. So no, we do not troubleshoot. You're going to be in another company or another meeting when the problem comes in. That's kind of the thing. So no. Now, would it be good if you had troubleshooting skills? Yeah, sure. But that's not your job. That's somebody else's job.
Then Chris Nike asked this one, and this one is about our program, I believe, about
Chris, let's be fair. So let's say, let's talk about this really nice young man. I love the guy, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm Daniel Boso. He did not complete high school. He was in our program for about 8 months or 7 months, and he's now hired and working as a cloud architect for, what do you call it?
JP Morgan.
JP Morgan Chase. I will tell you that Romanik Ivan Tamba was in college when he worked for us, working as a waiter in Atlanta, Georgia. He was in our program for approximately 6 months before AWS hired him. At the same time, we had somebody named Coyote who was with us for about 4 months, and he got hired by AWS in about 4 months. He was exceptional young man, hardworking, motivated, lovable. Now I've got other students that take a year. And you know what? If that's what it takes in my program to get hired, I don't care. I don't kick them out. Have I ever kicked out anybody and said it's been a year, it's been 10 months and you need to leave? All I care is that my students get hired. We let our students stay in the program for a year. Truth be told, for 90% of the time, if somebody were to say, Mike, I had to go visit my mother in Ethiopia and I had to miss 6 months, can I come back? I always say yes. So the point is can we always do it? It depends how big we get. But, the point is our training program will get you hired. And it takes about a year with us or less, 4 months to a year. I had a Delroy Bat that was such a rock star that he got a security job within 3 weeks. I had a Richard Afukar who got hired as an account manager in 3 weeks in my program. But normally speaking, it's about 8 months or so for people that don't have a tech background.
And let's see. Ankit added some supporting anecdotal information here for you. He says, I got my answer today why I was not hired for AWS because I added loads of fancy technology stuff on my CV and dug a hole for myself.
Yeah, you can't do it. If you look at my CV, there's a couple of things on there, and only the things that I'm an expert on. Here's why. On the interview, you're going to get hammered by the things that you know that are on your resume. So don't put anything there where you're not the world's greatest.
All right. And then one more question before we get to Alonzo from Pradeep here. They ask, what are the prerequisites for solutions architect? Should I learn or brush up basic Python, Linux, Bash, and some cloud knowledge before starting the free course?
Okay, Pradeep, I'm going to make this clear. Cloud architects design, present, and sell, and we never, ever, ever touch the technology. So if you have to present to the CEO, do you think it's valid to learn Python? It is not. Do you think it's valid to learn Terraform if your job is to go sell $1 billion architecture? It is not. What you need to know is as following. I'll make it clear. You need to know BGP from the network side, OSPF from the network side, and how it works. And we're not talking the name, but we're talking hundreds and thousands of pages of reading here. You need to know switching, VLAN tagging, VLAN trunking, spanning tree, rapid spanning tree, etc. Part of the switching means you need to know link aggregation groups, ether channel, port channel, whatever you want to call it. You need to know WAN technologies because you're going to design it, which is things like IPsec tunneling, SSL VPS, private lines, Ethernet over MPLS, software-defined networking, and SASE. You need to know NAT, and NAT's not just connecting you to the internet. That's what the NAT could be used for one-to-one NAT, one-to-many NAT, static NAT, dynamic tech, and you need to know what to use, when to use it, and how these things work. What happens when a company buys another company with overlapping IP addresses, for example? You must know DNS, DHCP, ARP, proxy, ARP, etc. You can't do it without this. Now, on the data center side, you must know servers and server virtualization, containers and container orchestration, file storage, block storage, object storage, and not the nonsense that they teach in the AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional. We're talking, if you're not with us, read a good 10,000 pages on this knowledge from Dell, EMC, and IBM, because you need to know what it is, how it works, and why to use it, because you have to architect it, you have to design it. We don't touch the tech, but you need to know how it works at its core to be able to design it. You need to know firewalls and next generation firewalls and intrusion detection and intrusion prevention systems, the kind of applications that businesses use to optimize their business. We don't code them, but you need to know what to use. Do I need an ERP system, a unified communication system, etc., a CRM system, etc. Then while we're at it, you need to understand the next generation firewalls, the IDS IPS systems, the security kind of things. And I could go on. These are the kind of things you need to know, but we don't touch the tech. We design the tech. We can't design something for which we're not an expert. Our main job is taking things out of a network in a data center and migrating it to the cloud. You know what the cloud is, everybody? A network in a data center that's virtualized. It's a virtual network in a data center. You're renting somebody else's network data center. So how do you take something from one place and move it to another place if all you know is the name of the service and how to configure it? So you can't get a cloud architect job by learning the cloud. You have to get the cloud architect job by learning the network and the data center, which by comparison teaches you all clouds.
All right.
Mike is just dropping gems.
Yes, yes, he is.
Per usual, he is back.
Now we are ready for Alonzo's gems.
Well, okay.
So if you want to add your input to the conversation of tech career mistakes and how to handle them, or what to look out for, or whatever approach you want to take, the floor is now yours.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm thinking back to the experiences in prior jobs that I've had before, and I can think about I can think about 6 versions that I can refer to. And I believe, and Mike has expounded on technology, being able to understand about understanding the cloud, being able to present, being able to sell, understanding the business. I'm going to do more of a marketing and branding perspective of how you can enhance your career and avoid these mistakes. Now, I've done marketing in my former life. I did that for over 10, 15 years of marketing, branding, understanding a market, being able to communicate to them effectively, understand what their wants are, and being able to package that in a very attractive manner so that they're able to consume more and more of these of what they want over the life cycle of the product. Now, how are you going to convert that over into the tech field? And I'll share with you what it is. You are the product. You are your own brand. You are your own person, and being able to market who you are in your organization or to a prospective company that you want to be hired by is of most important. So packaging who you are along with that cloud knowledge is what is going to help you to further your chances or increase your chances to get hired. So the first thing that I've seen is appearance. A lot of folks, they focus a lot on technology. They focus a lot on what they know, but they're not focusing on what they look like. So 9 times out of 10, when I find someone who is well-dressed, they don't have a wrinkled shirt that they look like they've been sleeping in, or the collar is so large that it's swinging off of their neck, or whatever the case is, appearance. First, the first impression is so important, because not only do we see, we understand that you are cloud capable, we also understand that you're able to effectively create an appearance of strength, create appearance of success, create appearance of understanding that the people in front of you are in charge of millions, tens of millions of dollars, and being able to present and project success and understanding that the cloud components that you understand and can effectively present go hand in hand with how you look, your timepiece, your shoes, everything that comes into play is a well packaged presentation that will go hand in hand with what you share with those cloud solutions. Now, the second thing I've come to understand is arrogance. Arrogance will not bring you far. It will not take you far at all. It will actually be that kryptonite to the Superman that you think you are. So it's very important to have confidence. It's very important to be able to effectively present and project your understanding of the cloud to the client, as well as to your director or to anyone internal to the organization that you're working in. However, being arrogant is counterproductive. It is counterintuitive. It is very negative, and it doesn't create that team cohesion. Like Mike is saying, we need an energizer for the team. And having that arrogance, it'll suck the life out of it. Being able to say, I don't need you. I don't want you. You're any team player who wants to share any knowledge, or anyone in the team or on the team, interior or external to the organization, that offers any type of advice that could be beneficial and helpful for the sales. If you're too arrogant to be able to appreciate value that other people can bring to your position, because as Mike says, we all don't know anything. We could have 10, 12, 15 lifetimes of network capability and an understanding of the network and all the other processes, and it still wouldn't be enough. So it takes a team. It takes a team player, and it takes humbleness, willingness to learn, and the ability to accept which is most important, when you're wrong, and being able to use that as a growth, as a means to become a strong player without the arrogance. And I've seen arrogance take down teams. I've seen arrogance cost jobs. I've seen arrogance cost possible job prospects and killed business relationships that were integral to that company's success on a yearly basis. So it's very important that you're able to humble yourself, be able to be confident, but also be a positive team player who is willing to accept when they're wrong, be able to accept knowledge that they don't know, be honest in saying, this is what I know and this is what I don't know, and saying, and most importantly, accept the help. Accepting help is nothing wrong with that. There's no weakness to that, because like on a SEAL team that Mike has eloquently shared, you're going to have your breacher, you're going to have your sniper, you're going to have someone who's in charge of comms, you're going to have the leader, you're going to have the corpsman who's in charge of any medical issues. All of these people have a facet which makes the team a whole piece, just like facets on a diamond. They're hardened by their experience, but it takes each facet of that to create value for the company or value as a team. And I think, let's see, the third one I'd like to share is the unwillingness to learn new tech or to be able to upskill your skill set. This, I believe it goes a little bit with arrogance, but also goes a little bit with stubbornness, because some people, some professionals that I've seen, they feel like I've learned, what I have is enough. I've learned all this and I don't need to learn anymore. Sometimes they might be legacy professionals who were dealing with data and technology before the cloud was really a thing, or those who feel like, okay, well, this is where my success is. I'm very successful where I am. I don't need to learn anything else. That is a fallacy. That is a lie. And that is very inconsistent with success. We have to be able to adapt to scenarios. We have to adapt to any possible problem that a client may present, and being able to realize it's like, okay, that's really not my strong suit. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. And if I need to know this, then doggone it, I'm going to learn this because the team needs it. The company needs it. I'm willing to adapt, change, grow, and be able to provide any necessary support I can so that we can win. We want to win. And if I need to learn new skills to get there, then I'll crack open that book and I'll get some coffee and I'll get the Coke the Coke Zero that Chris is drinking, and I'll throw back a 6-pack of that if I have to, because I know it creates value for everyone. Everyone wins. Everyone has an opportunity to be successful. And if I'm not willing to upskill myself and I feel like I can lean back on my laurels, I can lean back on what I know, we won't be successful and we're going to miss out on plenty of opportunities. And odds are someone may lose their job. I think on the flip side of that coin is overemphasis of your skill set, relying too much on what you know and not being able to understand that your skill set may not be enough for that particular project, or that client may need something else that might be outside of what you know. And understanding that everything that you know is not going to encompass and be a problem solver for a lot of the projects or a lot of the challenges that the company may have. And you're going to have to revert and resort to number 3, and being able to understand that upskilling and growing in the role on things that you think may not be important, be able to focus on tech, being able to focus on business acumen, emotional intelligence, understand capital expenditures, understand the business side of it, and those nuances that go hand in hand with this during a presentation is something that we can all learn from. We can all grow. There are perishable skills out there that we can always strengthen on a regular basis so that we and the team can be successful. So I believe number 5 would be neglecting the importance of soft skills to go along with your tech skills. You're smart, you know tech, you know networking. You could be as great as Mike when it comes to networking and understanding all the nuances of everything. Somehow you can just learn everything. But if you're not effectively able to create an environment of understanding, build that rapport, build those relationships so that you can convey your knowledge in a positive and a positive experience for the client, that person's going to shut it down before you're able to share all the knowledge that you have, because you don't know how to communicate. Communication is key. Communication is what leads the client into a specific area of that conversation where he's ripe, he or she or the company is ripe for understanding or the valuation that you can provide as that solution provider. And breaking it down, it's like, okay, well, hello, my name is Elonzo Coleman, and I'm coming in here. Well, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to get it done. Just sign your name on a dotted line. Where's the conversation? Where is getting to know that person? Where is actually with a calm, demeaning voice, or creating an environment of welcoming and positivity, and sharing that I and my team are able to create a solution for you. But before we get into that, I'd like to know more about you. I'd like to know more about your company. I'd like to know more about your pain points and be able to empathize with the challenges that you have with your organization without coming at you and saying, okay, this is what I can provide. Boom, boom, boom. It never works like that, because we as human beings need to understand what I'm purchasing, and understanding that the client is not tech savvy. The client doesn't care about the differences between the networking, what needs to happen if there's overlapping subnetting, or if there's any issues with security, and understanding that one cloud service provider is not going to provide a universal block against DDoS protection or non-repudiation or anything of these issues. They want to know, how is this going to affect my company? Is this going to make or break me? Is this investment going to help me in the long run or not? And being able to have an opportunity to convey these benefits in a meaningful way, as you would a friend, and be able to say, I need you to trust me. And by doing that, this is how I'm going to present myself to you in a very personal yet professional way, so that we can create that rapport, so that you can understand, I'm not here to just make a sale. I'm here to be a benefit to your company and be able to share in honest fashion how these can make or break your organization, even if it's not necessarily a benefit for my company. I want to create a business relationship with you. So it's those type of things that you have to stay focused on, even though you're focused on the tech, but you also have to focus on your soft skills as well. And I believe finally it would be overall creating your strong personal brand. And all of these are facets, with the final thing that I'm saying is that you need to be well-rounded in who you are, being able to exude confidence, exude happiness, positivity, be approachable, having the ability to communicate effectively with the C-suite, but be able to change and switch up, if you will, with the engineers, with the sysadmins, and with anyone who has more knowledge than the average client may have. You have to be able to adapt. You have to put different hats on, be able to communicate according to who these people are and what their roles are, so that you can rally the masses, be able to say, I'm an effective cloud architect. I'm able to speak to people. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. And if I don't know it, I want to come to you and let's build something beautiful. Let's create a partnership. Let's partner with the prod, partner with the tech portion of it. Let's get these challenges resolved. Let's get this knocked out. You need some help. Something's going on with you. I want to know what's happening so that we can win. How can I help you? Let's go out to lunch. Let's go and talk about some issues, and being able to share or provide solutions for each other, so that we can combine and provide solutions for the organization, and we can all win together. So creating a brand, because it is so important. I want you to be able to walk in a room and they say, there's such and such. They can get the job done. There's such and such. He may not know the answers, but he's willing to get the job done, or he's willing to find out who can help us. This guy helped me when I was feeling bad. I was having some personal issues, and he didn't ask me about getting the work done, and he didn't care about what I was feeling. He asked me personally, how's everything? And he actually followed up with saying, is everything still okay with your family? Okay, now is everything okay? Is there an opportunity where we can start discussing how we can grow and create these opportunities and be able to win as a team together? These are the things that come full circle for you when you're able to present, when you're able to share your brand, when you're able to grow and evolve as a tech person with business acumen, with personality and personal skills and soft skills as well. So those are the career mistakes that I put together, and that's how I was able to be successful. These are some of the things that not only have I learned from experience, but I've also learned through observation on what to do and what not to do as well.
Lonzo, I love that list, and there's some real gems that were in there for the people that were really listening. Some real gems.
I know Mike was really listening because he was ignoring all my chat messages.
Now, I did respond to one or two messages in the chat box because there was a couple things that were in there.
No, I said you were ignoring me.
Yeah, you were sending me messages?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw a few.
Anyway,
no.
that was some as people are saying in the chat box here. You know, that's sage advice, Alonso. And
we want to help. You know, I think it's just really effective that we're able to provide based on what we know and be able to incorporate that tech. Mike, he is just the networking guru. You know, you rub the side of the laptop and the genie appears. And I'm able to provide, you know, more of my side of what I've learned, and same as Chris. So I think the cohesion of what we're able to offer everyone here provides such a well-rounded experience that I think that everyone here can get cloud hired. If you do the work and you're able to participate, you're going to see a significant change in your life.
Yeah,
you will. I mean, we see it every single day.
Definitely. And a lot of the points that you brought up tied directly into my points, which is not surprising, because you and I don't know if it's the right word, but I feel like my and your points are more ethereal. They're more worldly. They're not, and a lot of your points aren't just job related.
No,
they're not just career related, which is what my the same with mine. The when I get to mine are not job mistakes. They are life mistakes that can affect your career. So,
and before you get to that, Chris, I
got lots of things to get to in the chat box.
Good. I'm just going to ask you this one question. When you do the cloud hired videos,
yes,
and all the people get jobs, what's the one thing they consistently say about us and our program and how it affected them?
It changed their life is the biggest thing that they say. I had to think about that because I was about to answer it wrong, but then I realized. So they say it changed their life. And then the other biggest thing that they talk about is how impactful their relationships with other people in the program have been, the community, and how much that has affected their life as well. So the most common themes are, you changed my life, and the community is astounding.
And when you get to those things, because you were going in the context of how things like Alonzo can change your life, and my things, and you mentioned it, I want to make it clear that's what our students say upon exit. Yeah, they get hired. Yes, they're making a lot of money, but they say it changed my life. And any of my students that are here that want to put it in the chat box, it's up to you. I'm not, but I see Tracy posted something that was in there. But that's the point. The point is we want to change everybody's life. Chris, let me get back to you. I didn't want to distract you.
Well, I mean, it was happening so much that I actually added a question to the interviews, like very, very quickly on. After like the third or fourth one, I added a question that says that I actually asked, well, how has this impacted your life? Because it was so common that people were talking about the impact that it had on their life, not just about getting a job, but just the various ways that our program has impacted their life. So that's. But we're circling back to the discussion we're having about mistakes. All all of our discussions and all of our training and all of everything in our program, it's not just about a career. It can't be just about a career. It can't be just about a job. Just like it can't be just about a certification. Like it can't be about any singular thing. It has to be this whole thing. And that's one thing that it takes a little time for people to wrap their head around when they join the program too sometimes. It's like, whoa. It's like, okay, we got this tech stuff. We got this career stuff. We had this mental health and self-care stuff. We got this community stuff. It's like, okay, all right. So it's not just about any one thing. But there were a couple of things that came in the chat box while Alonzo was talking, and Mike was trying to answer him in the chat box, and I was getting on the mic, and Mike wasn't seeing me get on the mic. I'm like, Mike, leave the questions. I want to answer the questions. But so I want to bring up a couple of them. So this one came in right towards the beginning, and I figure this is one of the reasons why we have these discussions, is because these discussions that we're having will directly impact this question. So Mohammed asked, how will these current layoffs and recession affect cloud solutions architect job market? My question is in reference to that you will be competing with solutions architects with a lot of experience.
You won't be, Mohammed. In fact, the solution architects that get laid off are the ones that companies hated. And we'll talk about more than that later. So in a recession and an inflationary environment, who do you need? You need the people that bring money into the company. Bring money in. Who are they? Your sales reps. Now, I'm an architect. I meet with my client. I interview the CEO, the CFO, the CTO, the CIO. I interview the department heads. I create a design, and I sell this $300 million design to the customer. I brought $300 million into the business. Am I getting laid off? No. Are they going to hire more of me in a recession? The answer is yes. Now, Mohammed, I want you to think about the next phase. Admin jobs. And here's the reason I don't teach coding and I don't teach admin jobs. And I also don't teach help desk jobs for this reason. Now, Mohammed, I don't always get rid of my expenses. I never get rid of my revenue. Does it matter if my engineer that's writing my software code is in Delhi, if they're in Karachi, if they're in Cape Town, if they're in Lagos, or if they're in New York City where I'm paying a fortune? It's completely irrelevant. So jobs like coding are expenses, they get laid off. Engineering jobs get laid off. And what do companies do? They hire somebody in another part of the world where they can get somebody that's so excited to work, that's so motivated to work, that has the world's greatest attitude, that's willing to work for less. So there's that. So cloud architect job's good. Now, who gets laid off in a company? I'm going to tell you, as a hiring manager, we typically keep the bottom 10% of our team on, and we don't fire them for this reason. Now the big boss comes in and says, Mike, you need to do a layoff. I got 2 people for you. We can cut them right now. Now, these are the people I didn't want on my team anyway. And poof, I lay them off because I keep them around. I keep my layoff people. I call them a layoff pool. The people that I don't like. I don't put them on anything of value. I have them do low value stuff because I'm afraid of them and the damage they're going to cause. And I might even send them on trips just to get them out of my office so they don't damage the morale on the team. And layoff time. Okay. Woohoo. I got rid of these 2 people and I didn't even need to fire them and feel bad about it. So there's that. So architect.
And just to be clear, he doesn't mean now. He means when he was in his in his previous roles. Don't worry. Everybody on our team is.
I don't have anybody on my team that I don't love. Charles amazing. Leo's amazing. Chris, you know how I feel about you. Alonzo, you're like my brother. Leo's amazing. And Eddie and Cameroon, they're all amazing. I don't have anybody that I don't love. But in a big global tech company where I've got lots of budgets, I'm carrying on to my bottom 10% for when they tell me, get rid of your bottom 10%. And I'm going to do that. So as a rule, Mohammed, I've never been laid off in my life. And I was at one company that did 13 layoffs, another company that did 6. I've never been laid off. And here, Mohammed, I've only had one of the clients I got hired laid off. His name was Carell. I won't tell you his last name, so you can't find him. Here's the thing. He was laid off, had a 6-figure severance, and had a $300,000 job within a week because he had all the right skills. Now, he took a sales job. So We have another video on how to navigate a recession. We'll have many more. We've written articles, magazines. Now you know.
And so I'm going to bring in Chris Nike's question because it's a question that I want to make sure people that aren't watching the chat box get the answer to.
Mhm.
So Chris Nike, because I know you answered it with him in the chat box, but I know not everybody watches the chat box. So he asked, the big question now to me is, what good is an AWS certification?
Here's the thing.
Mike, you have 5 minutes max.
Here's what certifications are. They create the fake illusion of competency. And here's by doing this, you're not competent by passing the AWS Certified Solution Architect Profession. You've got about 5% of the knowledge you need. But here's the thing. It looks good on a resume. So we get people 2 certifications, and only 2. One from the network or data center world and one from the cloud world. And the reason we do it is to help get an interview. Now, once you get the interview, your certification is completely worthless. Don't talk about it or they won't hire you. Talk about your job and how you can help them, how that manager be more successful, how that company be more successful, your design knowledge, your networking knowledge, your data center knowledge, your business acumen, leadership, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. See, handle that in 5 minutes, Chris.
I know that's one that we are very passionate about. So I just want to
I use certifications just to get an interview, and at the interview point, that's their lack of their usefulness.
Exactly. To give even more context, if somebody's got 15 years of networking experience, there's no reason for them to get all kinds of crazy certifications. But it's helpful if they would get an AWS professional certification so they can show, okay, I'm transferring to the cloud from the on-site data center.
Now, there is one other exception. Like when I became my Cisco certified internet expert the first time 20-some years ago, the reason the companies were paying people a lot for that is Cisco would give you 10% or something like that off your service contract if you had a CCIE, because they knew you wouldn't make stupid mistakes due to lack of knowledge and being unfocused and having jack of all trades on your team. You'd have one person that knew. So in consulting, what happens is some companies and consulting companies want you to get certifications. And here's what they do. They bring in a provider for a week, and everybody passes the certification that week, and they literally spoon feed you the test and tell you everything you need to know.
And at this point, most certifications have become just pieces of paper because of what certification training industry has done.
They become basically worthless, and here's the reason why. And we see it with some of the certification providers. Hey, I just passed an AWS Advanced Network, which isn't even an intro to June 11 networking. I've got a course for you. I sold this one of these same characters. I just passed the AWS Certified Advanced Security, and I have a course coming from you. Here's the thing. They're not qualified to teach the course. They don't even know what they don't know. And I can tell you what the certification provider does because he's done it to my students. They send messages on a Slack channel why they can't get hired, and he pauses their notifications. First, he tells them to do more certifications, then he pauses their notifications. And I've seen him do it to a lot of my students. They came to me, now they're hired.
And also, I think a benefit to this, Mike, as someone who's actually cleared the AWS certification, you think about how they're not so much teaching you the skills that you need to be successful. They're indoctrinating you based on their culture, on how there are no other options outside of the CSP solutions that they provide. So, and this is no knock on AWS, this is no knock on any other cloud certification, but in no way, if anyone who understands that a lot of the questions they have are geared towards AWS being the only cloud solution that is able to handle these issues with maybe a few small items of nondescript third-party vendors that could be an answer to the question. So just as context, as someone who's got boots on the ground who understands these exams, it helps you to further understand that there is no certification end all to be all, because many companies, they're using multi-clouds. They're using they're not using just one. You got a burning house. Do you want one exit, or do you want multiple ones when things are not going right? You're going to want many options when everything is hitting the fan and you need a solution to help you alleviate the problems in this architecture. And that's just, what I wanted to share with the group overall.
Yeah. So Dasha Lee brings up a good question. I think it's very similar to your cloud practitioner training question.
Yeah.
So she says the Azure 104 is a prerequisite for the 305. Her company offers full Azure training. Should she take advantage to do both?
First, Ashley, what do you want to do? Now, if your company is going to pay you to do this during work hours, sure, it's not going to hurt you. Do not put the AZ-104 on your resume if you want to be an architect, because that will hurt you. But put the AZ-305, the Azure Solutions Architect Expert. Use that to skip the AWS one. We like to see one of these, so sure, let them do it. If your work's going to pay you to do this stuff, which would otherwise be a total waste of your time, do it. Get paid for it. Take the time off from work. Learn what you can. Then go back and learn all the stuff they don't teach you. That's what I would do. But it's not going to get you hired. But sure, they want to pay you to do a certification. Get the AZ-305. It's one of our favorite cloud certifications.
Yep. And we got a question here from young Daniel. Oh, anyway, he says he's following from Nigeria, and he hopes it can work.
Nigeria.
And he hopes it can work smoothly here without any hindrance.
We've got plenty of successful students in Nigeria, Cameroon. We had, the last time I counted, it was 200, but I think at this point we've got about 300 Nigerian students and about 300 Cameroonian students. Lots of students in South Africa, Pakistan, India, Australia, New Zealand, South America, all over Europe, all over England. We've got students all over, and they do well as well. So yes, we would love to join from Nigeria. We've got lots of Nigerian students.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, they're super successful.
Reverend Sam asked the same question from Cameroon and about working remotely from there. So
Reverend Sama, yes, you can get a job in Cameroon. Eddie Kim from my team, and he's also part of the Cloud Heroes Africa project, who's a wonderful guy, is in Bamenda, Cameroon. Now, he's doing something else different with us right now as opposed to an architect, but you know the point is, if I need an architect over there to design things, I'd love to hire somebody in Cameroon. Why wouldn't I? I'm going to find somebody good, hardworking, motivated, speaks well, most likely speaks English and French, which makes them bilingual, which makes them even better. They're more usable in the international business community than somebody that only speaks one language.
Yes, I'm at a disadvantage in the international community. Very much so.
The more languages, the better. I speak a couple.
Yep. All right. So let's see here. Next, and this came in during Alonzo's talk. So this question from Angelo here. What are some good ways to acknowledge a mistake to a customer that will not destroy trust? What's a good way to balance integrity and soften bad news?
That's a good question.
I'll let you answer it, Alonzo, and I'm going to answer it because I've had to do a lot of this. And why have I had to do a lot of this? Because here's what happens. The company has somebody that's a jack of all trades and a master of none, and they went to their sales engineer, and they designed something that had no architectural guidance whatsoever. It fell apart, and then they were like, Mike, I need you to go fix it.
That's where the arrogance comes in right there, is being able to say, I can solve all the problems. And when things break and it's costing money or time, which equates to both, first thing, honesty. But being able, because you created that trust, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to happen with this. Let me unpack. When it comes to sharing some bad news, first thing you got to do is create an environment of trust, create an environment of calm, being able to say, okay, let's have a conversation. This is what happened. This is the bad news. But you don't leave them with the bad news to sort it out, but you also come with a possible solution. You don't come there with your hand out saying, okay, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. But you walk in there confidently and saying, okay, we made a mistake, but we're also have a solution to this. This is what we're willing to do. And that's where there could be some potential horse trading, if you will, to say, well, we'll reduce the fee, we'll reduce the price, we'll make amends, which we want to make sure you don't lose trust in us because we can get the job done. But being able to share that news, with a solution and being able to negotiate how you can alleviate and assuage the financial pain that you as a business have caused, that is the key environment. And there's going to be a lot of times where, although they're not happy about what you presented and saying, I don't, that we didn't want to hear this news, but the fact that you brought it to them with a solution to get this thing alleviated is what's going to help you win out in the end. Back to you, Mike.
Well, I want to add something here before we get too far down. So something to keep in mind here is, like Alonzo says, you acknowledge the problem and you address the problem and you bring a solution. But what if you don't have a solution? There are solutions available that might not be you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be humble enough, and your business has to be humble enough to acknowledge we can't fix it.
Yeah.
But we've found ABC and XYZ companies.
Very true.
That can address this. We'd like to bring this to their attention because most likely there's going to be some confidentiality things. And you, if there isn't a confidentiality thing, you could have already done the pre-work and reached out to these organizations. But most likely you're going to have to ask permission to share. But if you don't have a solution, there's still the opportunity to present a solution that someone else can provide. And that shows humility and honesty, and that will continue. That will strengthen the relationship, even if the end result is you lose the business this time.
Right.
You've got that memory will stick with every single person that you dealt with.
Right. And even if you could possibly, you have that solution, Chris, and you farm out the solution based on their permission, and even tell them the proceeds or the payments that you initially would give, it's not going to be an extra fee from you. We're just going to pull it out from us, and we're going to get this resolved no matter what. Even if you, because so many people focus so much on getting the money, they don't realize that the relationship and the businesses that come with it are far exceed that one hit quit of getting that financial gain. So creating and ensuring that relationship, although it may be a little ding, but you're still able to create a stronger relationship, which doesn't really grow unless something actually happens sometimes, to be able to provide that trust and saying, this is a trust moment. We're asking you to trust us. This is the reason why you should trust us. And in the end, they'll understand they stuck by me. We stuck by them. The relationship is increased. It's strengthened. It's built. And we'll be able to create more business opportunities later on down the line.
Yeah. An example that everyone should be familiar with is a security breach at Target or Citibank or XYZ company, and people's email addresses and credit card information is found. When it's announced that this has happened, they've already got 15 solutions figured out. They've already paid for a year's worth of credit security check through Experian and Equifax and all this stuff for every single person that's affected. They've already got counseling arranged where everyone that's affected can do the, deal with all this stuff. So that's just an example of, obviously, when Target has a security breach, Target can't handle all of it by itself.
Right.
They're going out to 15, like I said, 10, 15 different organizations preparing a solution to mitigate as best possible and handle it. So that's kind of what I'm talking about here. Is you're going to have situations where you can't fix it.
Can't fix it. Nope.
And
you know someone who does.
Do not have the tools.
Yeah.
So
right.
You're going to have to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mike, input on that.
I'm going to tell you two things. One thing that Alonzo said that's really critical: when I get promoted in your job, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. Mm-hmm. Find the problem and solve it. Show the hiring manager or your VP or whomever that you solved their problem. There's your promotion. But use that. I'm always about how do we optimize career. I've had this happen numerous times in my career. And I'm going to give you an example when I could do something about it. I had been asked about 20 years ago, the customer was in Dubai, and it was a wonderful customer. They did the first fiber voice data and video to the house, anybody in the world that I know of. And there was a really good sales engineer with good architecture. He sends me this diagram, this architecture diagram, and he says, Mike, is this going to work? And I said, I love the routing. That should work. This should work. This should work. Send it to this engineer to test. The engineer tested it, and it worked. The customer then buys it, and they deploy it, and it's not working. People are watching, it's an IP video TV solution. People are watching TV, and all of a sudden the people breathe. And there's squares on the screen. A minute later, it works, and the customer is not happy. These are people that spend a lot of money, and these are customers that are used to getting everything they want when they want it, and their TV freezing is not working for anybody.
No.
I was in Panama, and I get a call. Hey, Mike, can you go visit Dubai and meet with the customer? And I'm like, sure. They're like, you know where it is? I said, I know where it is. They're like, you willing to go? I said, of course I am. So I jump on a plane and I go to Dubai. Well, actually, I go to England on the way to Dubai because it's my connecting flight. Well, I actually went to San Francisco first, and then San Francisco to go into England. And on the flight, one of the engines failed on the plane. It happens. Thankfully, we had an expert pilot, not a jack of all trades and a master of none, dump the fuel, make an emergency landing. Now, we did ultimately fix the engine, refuel the plane, and fly to England. Now, you can imagine how long that took, so I missed my connecting flight. And as it turned out, there was a half an inch of snow in England at the time, which shut down all of London Heathrow for the day and backlogged thousands of airplane flights. And for any of you that have flown through London Heathrow, you know exactly how busy that airplane is. Next day, I go to the airport, try and jump on a plane, can't get anything. Okay, that's okay. I go to Windsor, buy some nice clothes. Next day, try to jump on the airplane, can't go. Next day, try to go, can't go. Now, at this point, I actually called the customer and said, I don't think I can get there. I'd really like to. I'm really sorry. This has happened, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened, and this has happened. And the question is this. If I can get you here on a good flight that's not going to be hard for you tomorrow, will you come? And I say yes. Next thing I know, I have first class tickets on Emirates Airlines. That's how badly the customer wanted me there. Let me tell you, there's no better experience in the world. I show up, I land in the middle of the night. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I haven't slept. I'm exhausted. I get to my hotel, and all of a sudden I get a call from the desk. There's someone here for you, Mr. Gibbs. I'm like, what? And literally speaking, I wake up, I meet the person. I got groggy eyes, haven't slept in days because I've been running airports. And they're like, are you ready to come and help us? And I said, I'm really sorry. You matter so much to me, and I will do everything I can to help you. But right now, I'm no use to anybody. I need to sleep for 6 hours. 6 hours later, I show up, I get to the customer site, and I'm thinking, I'm going to help them, right? I know what to do. I apologize for the inconveniences. I tell them that I will stay here until we get your problem solved. I said, if it's 1 minute, 1 day, 1 week, I will stay. And I said, as a matter of fact, because it matters so much to get this right, I'm going to stay an extra week after it happens so I can make sure nothing happens because it's a long flight. Now, here's the good news. Next day I went in there. The engineers in this company were so smart. This is when I was like a technical architect, which is really an engineer, not an architect. And the customer was so smart that they literally were watching the packets go through the box. They were on the phone with our software developers, and I thought, okay, I'm going to be moving to Dubai. It's kind of a nice place. It'll be okay. Now, they're debugging, and I said, I got information. Let me get on the phone with the developer. They're like, we need more than this. I said, I can do this. I said, I'm actually going to call the CEO to make sure that he's aware. He said, you're going to do that? I said, yes, right now. Call the CEO. Let him know. This is how much I want to get it solved. And then go out for a walk because I needed to clear my head. And when I got back, I picked up my bag, and it was heavy. And I was thinking, why is my bag heavy? And the reason my bag was heavy was I had some old cards that I picked up in Panama, an old generation card for these switches. Now, I'm a medical professional first, architect second. And I don't prescribe new medications for my patients unless I have to. I prescribe an old medication, and here's the reason why. Old medications, I already know what happens because there's already been people that got it. So that's my testing. Drugs approved by the FDA, to me, that means nothing. Theoretically, it means it's safe. We prescribe the drug. A year later, we find out the drug causes cancer, and then you see all the lawsuits. So I don't use new drugs. I use old drugs when I can. And I said, I got this old card. This is the newest, best card we have. What if I swap this new thing for this old thing that's known to be proven? I'm like, I literally had no idea what to do at that point. I literally was scrapping at zero. I stick in the new card, pull out the old card, and everything starts working perfectly. Now, out of nowhere, I'm a hero. I'm like, really? I just changed the card. They're like, no, that's not why we like you so much. You fixed the problem, but you called the CEO. You told me you'd stay here until the end of this, and you followed through on your commitment. I trust you. Mike, should we buy more of it right now? And I said, I'm going to stay here a week, and I want to make sure it works. I promised you I'd stay a week. The week passed. Everything worked. Customer ordered more and more and more. And I wasn't even the sales rep. They just order based upon relationship. So that's the key. Sometimes you have to give bad news, but it's your authenticity and it's your integrity. And when you're authentic, Angelo, people know. And when you lie, people know. And when people feel that you really care about them, and you really care about them, and you're willing to raise heck to get all the right people in by calling the CEO, if that's what it takes, they know that you care. And no matter what happens, they're going to like you, and they're going to be happier with your company for doing it. So you got to do it. There's lots of time to acknowledge your mistakes. Be honest, be authentic, and try to build a solution. And if you can't build a solution this day, because the team's working on it, call them once a day. In the process, until this gets solved, I will call you once a day or have somebody call you once a day to fill you in on exactly the status and do it. You've got no status updates. We don't have anything changed today, but I'm working with it. I will get back to you tomorrow. That helps a lot. Love that.
All right. So I guess we've got a lot of more questions to get to, but I guess I should give my my mistakes to watch out for since I've delayed long enough. Luckily, nobody's called me out on it so far. So I'm going to go big screen. I normally don't like to go big screen. A little self-conscious here. But so it's hard to follow up Mike and Alonzo. They've done a really good job of elaborating on some important things to make sure to not fall victim to during your career. But it's something to remember as we're talking about this. We're calling these career mistakes, but they're also you preparing for your career. Not just when you're working, but preparing for your career. We include the career prep and training and everything as part of our career. That's how we view it. So in our discussions, everything that we're talking about is from the starting line of figuring out what career you want to go after to retiring after you've had a successful career. So these mistakes are everywhere in between. The first thing that I want to talk about is expectations. And my lights are about to dim, so give me just a second. Oh, see, I have no expectations that I can go a show without the lights shutting off on me. So I don't get disappointed when the lights shut off because I expect that they will shut off. I am prepared that they will shut off. So that was a timely and apt example of expectations, right? But on a serious note, expectations are a dangerous thing because if you have expectations, by default, you set up the opportunity for disappointment, discouragement, failure, etc., etc. That's not to say don't have expectations. The important thing is to have appropriate expectations. Have measured reasons for your expectations. you can't have unrealistic expectations. For example, I have an expectation that I will make $1 million by the end of the year. What is that expectation based on? What is that a realistic expectation? Can I do anything to make that expectation happen? Most people, that's not a realistic expectation. But if you set that as an expectation and don't do anything to make it happen, and it's not feasible to happen, then there's going to be disappointment, there's going to be discouragement, and there's going to be failure. The same is true with any training or career development. There's a reason that in our program, we have an entire section dedicated to SMART goals, SWOT analysis, and a career development plan. Because if you perform the SWOT analysis and review SMART goals, then your career development plan can have the proper expectations. It's not appropriate if you're working a full-time job, taking care of a family member, and have a newborn child, and your significant other is in the hospital. It is not an appropriate expectation that you will go from zero to hero in 3 weeks of training and be cloud hired, because you have 168 hours in a week. And if you're working full-time, taking care of a family member, and have a newborn child, and you're the only person to do all of this stuff, those 168 hours are going to run out really quick. So I say I go with these crazy examples of expectations. But the thing with expectations, it's not just your expectations. It's other people's expectations. You have to be able to manage both yours and other people's expectations. Your actions and your words and the things that you do will create expectations that others have of you or of some scenario. So you have to make sure that you are putting forth an environment that creates proper expectations for yourself and others. Because again, if you have improper expectations, you have an entire team of people that have these expectations, your superiors have these expectations, your customers have these expectations, and they are unrealistic, and you're the ones that's created these expectations, it's going to create disappointment, discouragement, and failure. And it's going to create disappointment, discouragement, and failure for a large swath of people, not just yourself, and not just your immediate counterpart or your immediate subordinate or superior. It will have rippling and cascading effects throughout the company. I could go on and on about expectations, but I think I've got that. I think I've got it pretty clear that having healthy and appropriate expectations is key to a successful career. And again, as I said earlier, these are not just career mistakes and career examples. It's the key to life in general. If you don't have appropriate expectations in life, it's going to create all kinds of chaos for you. Like, even though this is Diet Coke, I do not expect to lose weight by drinking only Diet Coke. There's a lot more that has to go into that than just drinking Diet Coke. Before I move on to my next one, does either of you want to add anything about expectations?
No, I think it's really critical to set expectations and know the expectations and set reasonable goals. Specific, measurable, results-oriented, time-based, and achievable goals. Achievable and then time-based. Yeah, I said it out of order, but that's why Chris talked about SMART goals. We've got everybody in the first week do that career plan. And they have to, and we look at it and say, no, that's not going to work. Because we don't want some people want to do 50 certifications, and we can't get them hired if they do that. So we want them to do what they need to. Somebody thinks they're going to get hired in a week, and we say, I'm not going to do that. Now, look, I had a Cisco certified internet expert from Cisco like me came into my program. His name was Joe Millen. He asked me if I'd be able to help him get hired, and I said, I can get hired quickly. All we need to do is your interview coaching, your executive presence training, and your leadership training, and your business acumen training, and you'll be hired immediately. 3 weeks later, he's a senior solution architect at AWS. Now, why could he do it quicker? He's been designing networks and data centers for 20 years. What's the cloud architect do? Design networks and data centers. It's the same job. We just needed to polish him up a little bit.
Yeah. And to be clear, I feel so strongly about expectations because that's something that I'm constantly working on.
Yeah.
Like that is
agreed. Same here.
I have personal experience with expectations. And so I've got I am a very big proponent of expectations. And again, it's something that I'm constantly trying to improve on. And so that's why I bring it up, especially because of how it can impact others.
Yes.
It's not that it impacts me. It impacts others. And I've, like I said, I've had personal experience with that and, strive to work on that. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about, Alonzo, did you want to add anything about expectations before I move on?
Yeah, I was just thinking it's like when you're providing expectations, it's kind of like an unofficial agreement, if you will, being able to say, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm expecting you to expect from me. And when you break that, you damage your brand, you create mistrust, and you are weakening the relationship between yourself and the client as an architect. So a lot of people tend to try to underpromise and overdeliver, but oftentimes just be honest so that by underpromising, you're not creating a brand of inefficiency or a brand of incapability so that you can shine all the greater on the other end. Just set a precedence of this is what you can expect from me. This is how much, at what time, where, what phase of the project, where in the project, so that everyone is honest and everyone has created a brand of true expectation of what we can receive from the organization and you as a cloud architect. So that's what I wanted to share with that.
And actually, regarding expectations, let me just touch it for a second. I worked at a company, one of the best technology companies in the world, and they had a really strong sales culture. And they would only sell things that were good for the customers, and if something would break, they would fix it immediately. Every Monday, the sales reps would get on a call, their sales engineers and architects would be on the same call, and they would say, how much are you going to sell? And here's the thing. If you thought you can sell $2 million that week, you said $2 million that week. Maybe you'd say 1.9. So you overpromised and underdelivered. But you'd say 1.9. You brought in 2. Good job. That was great. You promised 10 and you did none. What happened? Here's what they hated the most. I've got nothing to sell this week. And if that's the case, all right. And then you brought in $10 million. And why were they angry? Because they knew you were gaming the system, but it was more than that. If you didn't know your business well enough to give an accurate estimate, just because this meant you were lucky, didn't mean you were good. And they wanted to know people that knew exactly what to do, exactly what their customers wanted, needed, and they could set realistic expectations.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to get through my next one real quick, and then we've got some more questions to get to. Hopefully we don't run too far into the night. But the next thing that I wanted to talk about is work environments, and specifically toxic work environments. So it's important, and I guess the more important or the more specific thing to talk about is awareness of your environments. So you need to be able to assess the environments and the situations that you're in, whether it be in the office, workplace, like physical location situation, or it be a project that you're working on with a large team in different areas. It doesn't matter. Situational awareness. But I'm focusing on the toxic environments. There's countless examples of people who have been in toxic situations and didn't even realize that they were in a toxic situation. And it has dramatic effects on their health, their mental health, their personal relationships, their entire life.
Yeah.
So it's important to me that that's something that is discussed. Again, it's not just a career mistake; it's a life mistake. It could be a life mistake.
Yeah.
So if you extrapolate this to life, I'm sure everybody's dealt with a toxic situation. But the importance is being aware of the situation and how to handle the situation.
Yes.
Because you may not be able to get out of the situation. Let's use a hypothetical situation where you are on a team. The expectations have been set ridiculously out of the park, unattainable, can't be reached, and the leadership of the team is continuously holding everyone accountable for something that can't be achieved by any means, can't be achieved, and people are being reprimanded and talked to in certain ways and completely toxic. People are being pitted against each other and things of this nature. Again, I'm sure there's plenty of people that have been in these situations. The important thing is being aware of it. Once you're aware of it, you can handle it. You can realize what's happening and not buy into it. If you're in a situation where people are being pitted against each other, you don't have to take part in it. But you're not gonna avoid taking part in it if you're not aware that that's what's happening. So just there's more and more examples that I could go through. Obviously, the end result of toxic situations is trying to get out of them. So if you're in a toxic situation that you're able to stay in and manage, then you must also be working for a solution that gets you out of that situation. Obviously, there's avenues within your organization to follow. You may have the opportunity to go to superiors or HR or the supervisors and follow the practices that are in place. But you may find that doesn't work, and you may ultimately have to find alternative employment. That's the end result a lot of the times. Personally dealt with it myself. Ended up with other employment because the toxic situation was not going to end. But I just wanted to speak briefly about the awareness. And Mike, I know that you have a lot of knowledge and experience in this area and helping others with it. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about that, because I am unfortunately an engineer right now, and I can only talk about the problem.
And you want to know something interesting here?
About the solution.
Here's the thing. I want you all to understand this. Most of you have been architects in your life. And here's the thing. Most people don't know it. Now, many people confuse a cloud architect versus a cloud engineer. That's what an architect does. You take any problem, I don't care what it is, and you create a solution to solve that problem that's going to work and help your customer. That's an architecture. That's it. When a patient came into my office that was morbidly obese, and they had diabetes and cardiovascular disease and high blood pressure, and I listened to their heart, lung, did an EKG, and etc., and I built them a plan. You will go to the gym 3 times per week. You will go on this diet. You will lose 40 pounds. You will take this medication. That was the architecture. That was it. That's the architecture. About a year ago, or 2 years ago, I was driving in Virginia. I've had like 3 speeding tickets in my life. I was following traffic. And out of nowhere, red and blue lights, I get pulled over. I'm following the speed of traffic, but I have out-of-state plates. I get pulled over, and I get handed a ticket. I sat there, I smiled, and I went to the lawyer. 5 minutes later, called the lawyer. Hey, I got a ticket in Virginia. Hey, were you on this street in this part of 95? Yeah. That's a speed trap. Everybody gets tickets there all day long because you have out-of-state plates. And I said, great, what can I do about it? He says, here's this thing. I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. Guess what? Problem will be solved. I paid him his fee. He did his magic. He built a plan, built a defense, and poof, ticket was dismissed. So that thing is, architecture is all about solving problems. If you're a parent and you raised a child and they turned out successfully, you're a good architect. The key is knowing, and that's one of the things, if you join my webinar on Thursday, the How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar, it's about taking your life strengths and showing the employer that what you've done in your past is the same job. You do that, you can change careers 10 times. If you get bored, I know somebody that's really smart. She gets bored very easily. So I'm teaching her the life and career agility skills so she can do it. But that's the key is, we've got to basically do this. While we're at it, I'm going to mention one more career mistake. I see it every day on LinkedIn. Somebody makes this post. Which certification should I get? Okay. What if you made this post? Which college degree should I get? It's the same thing. What if you asked me which airplane you wanted to get, you should take? And I'd say, I don't know. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go to Greece? Do you want to go to Dubai? Do you want to go to London? Do you want to go to Tanzania and see a lion? I'm desire to go to Tanzania to see a lion, so that's really on my mind right now. Do I want to go visit Eddie and Bamenda, Cameroon? Yeah, I kind of would like to do that. So the airplane that I get on is based upon the destination. When somebody asks, which certification should I get? I'm going to promise you right now, every answer you get is going to be wrong unless it's there. And every person that responded, you should never listen to them about anything ever. And here's why. They've got a solution without even knowing the problem. Seriously, think about this. I've had people that came in with a problem, and before I even knew what the problem is, I've seen people actually try to solve it. I'm like, okay, you leave the room. I'll address this from here. And I went after the words, like, what I do wrong? I said, you tried to solve a problem and you didn't even know what it was. It's like the 10 emails a day. I can grow your business. Really? You don't even know anything about my business. Go away, go away, go away. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Back to you, Chris. Maybe it's questions. Maybe it says you're in charge.
I don't have anything else to add. I had my two big things. Like I said, which are just, I don't want to degrade them. They're generally applicable to everything in life. So, Alonzo, if you want to add anything to that, and then we can get into some of these questions. I don't know if anybody has any time constraints, but
I can do a little bit, and then I'm going to do a lot more in the morning.
Yeah, same. I can't add to that. I think you guys created well-rounded points for that, and I'm really interested in seeing what those questions are and how we can provide more insight to anything that we discussed today.
Yes. So we've addressed this question in various forms, but I'll bring it in again. Moneyline parlay. This guy must like must like sports betting. I don't know. I'm a high-level technical support representative going for the AWS Certified Solutions Professional certification. Are there any jobs I would qualify for soon after I obtain it in August?
If you don't do anything differently, potentially tech support representative, because it's your current career. And here's the thing. You can look at a certification as icing on a cake. And I don't eat cake, but people that eat cake tell me they like the cake more. They don't eat the icing out of the jar. So if you're already very good at a technical support, and now you get the Certified Solution Architect Professional, it's just the icing for you to do the same job. That you can do with no other training. Because you're already doing it. And you know how to do that job.
Yeah. And then our next question is, can a cloud architect be engaged in a remote role?
Absolutely. I was asked to support a client in Japan from South Florida about 1.5 years ago. So the answer is yes. Now, generally speaking, we also do some traveling because, sometimes Zoom is good, but sometimes you got to meet with that customer in front of you, shake some hands, kiss some babies, spend some money on your customer, take them to dinner, buy them expensive wines, expensive scotch, take them golfing. So there is some travel that's required with this, but we can definitely be remote. I've worked remotely as an architect now since 2001. Or was it 2002? I think it might be 2001, 2002.
All right. And Chris says that such wisdom and priceless, never seen such passion and well-rounded experience from you guys. Mind-blowing. I guess he's talking about you two. I don't know.
Thank you so much, Chris. I know here's the thing. We love what we do around here. Like I said, I only know 3 things in life: medicine, architecture, and how to get people hired and promoted. So this is my world. This is my passion. Now, if you asked me to put a screwdriver in my hand, you'd see an unpassionate Mike really fast. But this is my love. And you know what? I know it's Alonzo's love, and I know it's Chris's love. And how I know why? Because I get a cloud hired message some ridiculous time in the morning from somebody in some other part of the world. And I'm texting Chris and Alonzo. And they're like, woohoo, woohoo, woohoo. And, they're not saying it's Sunday night at 11 o'clock at night. Mike, why'd you send me this dumb text message? They're saying, I'm so happy. So, yeah, we love what we do.
Yeah, let's see. What did I say? I was literally installing blinds at my house earlier today. And so-and-so, blah, 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 just got an offer, blah, blah, blah. Keep it quiet. So, okay, keeping it quiet. My response is, so exciting. My head is spinning. So,
and Alonzo's response, you probably have it in front of you.
Oh, yeah. He said, I'm loving this. And you said, me too. And then there's somebody hearted the message, like you hold down and hit the heart. Yeah. So
the key is we live it. We love it. That's why we're here.
Yes,
that is not a job for any one of us. It's not about money for any of us.
That one was at 150 this afternoon.
So. Yeah, let's be fair. We have a program that we could easily sell for 50,000, which if I use some ads and market it if I wanted to, and people would pay it because here's the thing: we've got students that graduate would get $100,000 to $300,000 a year. A lot of them way in that middle of that range, and people pay $100,000 for college to do it. But I don't do it. We charge less than $1,000. Why? It's the 1 day's pay for the average architect, and we cover our costs. We just want to make the world higher.
Yeah. So I'm about to put a link in here as Go Cloud Architect. So tomorrow morning we have a Q&A session. So if you've got any cloud career or training questions, join us tomorrow morning. You can go ahead and set a reminder. But I'm about to put it in here so you can do that. Join us tomorrow morning for our, sorry, I can't multitask. So cloud career Q&A session. So there we go. And Chow, if you'll repost that again in a couple of minutes, just to make sure it stays at the top. So this just came in, and I'm sure Alonzo knows what it means.
What I get?
From Noah, he says that email you got was me. I got an email that said an enrollment came in.
Yes.
Very cool. Welcome to the program. We're excited to work with you, Noah.
Awesome. He's a great guy. We had a great conversation. So he's an awesome guy. Welcome, Noah. I am so happy you're here. That's awesome. Yeah. I told you I welcome you when you got here, and that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Welcome. Seriously.
Oh. All right. And Mr. Fire or Miss Fire says, please listen to these, man. They know their stuff. I can vouch for everything said. You'll save yourself a ton of headaches, stress, and career problems.
Yeah. We just want to help everyone get to their goals. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's
awesome.
This is we talked about it last week. Social proof right here. I totally agree with Mike and his amazing team are better as a whole, and no one single person can run the show alone. Y'all make the program so dynamic.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Tracy's amazing.
Tracy, she's so cool, so positive.
And Mr. or Ms. Fire says, thank you, Alonzo, for that mini TEDx.
We try. I can't. I'm just one of three. I can't do it without these gentlemen. And just a combined experience. We're just glad to be able to help everyone get cloud hired, learn these fundamental skills, understand that There's no one hitter quitter with any certification, let alone the end all of knowledge. And that you all being here, this is us with the community, and it takes a village, and we are that village. So I'm happy to be here with these gentlemen.
All right. And Joe says it's not only about the tech.
Exactly.
Tracy says it's definitely a life-changing program. Alex says it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change.
That is exactly the words, which comes from the word dieta. But that's another story here in of itself. Alex knows what I mean, and the whole lifestyle thing.
And Chris says, I feel like I just found my new family.
That's exactly the key. My class and I are family, but even I'm trying to build this show in the community as a family. That's why we do so much free. Another reason we do free training, we want to help the world get the jobs they want.
Yeah.
Does Helen of Troy have something that we're okay? Just
she is interested in a transfer from program to program. It's just a matter of logistics on our part.
Okay. I thought you had a question. Okay, that's
no.
Okay.
So all right. Dasha says career change is always about how do you see yourself in life.
A lot of it.
Yeah. Chiniti says, when I talk to people, I'm learning to pause when I speak. I also try to stop using no problem. There we go.
The executive presence. I love it. Yeah, make a point, pause, get to your next point. I'm excited, Chindu. You'll be cloud hired soon.
And Young Darnell says, I feel like I finally found people like me too.
Yes.
Welcome, Darnell. Yes. We're thrilled to have you.
All right.
A lot of computers in front of you in that picture.
So Pradeep asks, does this career require extensive traveling to meet and onboard prospective clients?
Okay, so let's talk about onboard. That's somebody else's job. We design, present, and sell. Now, will you be, in the sales process, will you be meeting with customers? Yeah, you may have to go to the site for that. In the process, you're going to be doing proof of concepts, et cetera, and you may need to connect with their system. So yeah, you may be on site buying lunches and dinners for the really smart cloud engineers that are going to be doing the work and project managing them, even though we're not a project manager. So yeah, you will need to travel to client sites. Now, it's not like the old days, Pradeep, where I travel 300,000-400,000 miles a year, which is what I did. And I'm going to tell you this, the better of an architect you are, the more demand for you. Yeah, you'll be traveling 200,000-400,000 miles a year. But in the beginning of your career, not everybody's going to say, I know who Sammy is. So you got a good couple of years. And if you never want to get to that top, there's extremely high paying enterprise architect job. You don't have to travel that much, but you will be traveling for the job. And where you live will determine how much travel you have to do. Imagine you're a solutions architect in New York City. How much traveling do you need to do there to deal with Fortune 100 companies? Not much. Now, imagine you're living in Palm Beach Gardens. I lived there for years. I had one job offer there, which I denied because it was $150,000 less than I was earning from my previous company. And they wanted me to be a jack of all trades because they were a tiny company. And if I lived there in Palm Beach Gardens, how many Fortune 100 companies exist? 0. So in Miami, how many Fortune 100 companies or 500, 100 companies exist? 0. So in Jacksonville, how many Fortune 100 companies exist? 0. So in Florida, when I lived in Florida and I lived in Palm Beach Gardens, I traveled 305,000 miles a year. In today's world, working from home in Palm Beach Gardens, I would be working, I'd be traveling 20% of the time or 30% of the time. The rest would be done via conference technology.
All right, so Tracy shares also, this program is definitely life-changing for the best. I struggled for a whole year with other certification training and was completely clueless and didn't feel confident to start interviewing. I have grown leaps and bounds within a short duration of being in Mike's program, and I am very close to starting interviewing with confidence.
Awesome, Tracy. That's great. Great.
And I am sure with the skills I gained from the program, I will be cloud hired. Yes,
you will be.
You will be. You will be.
I'm completely certain. And I know Tracy, she's pretty awesome. So yeah,
definitely.
There's a lot of people that are going to want her on her 13.
Yes, definitely. I couldn't agree more. Let's see. Just Going through, all I know. So Noah just joined us, and this will not be Noah in a few months. I only know how to speak in terms in AWS.
That will not be you.
Nope. We
You're
talked
going to
about
have
that,
to be
Noah.
objective to your customers, and we'll make sure you know the technology, how to speak to the customer in the technology. Here's the thing. Hi, Mr. Customer. I got some EC2 instances. What's that? Mr. Customer, I'm going to take your virtual machines from your data center to virtual machines in the cloud. Now, whether it's an EC2 instance, a Compute Engine instance, an Azure virtual machine, an Oracle virtual machine, it's all the same thing as they have in their data center. It's nothing new. But you know that they know you speak the common language. They'll be very happy.
So let's see. So I just want to remind everybody about our Q&A session tomorrow morning. If you've got any cloud career or cloud career or cloud training questions, make sure to join us tomorrow for the Q&A session. We'll do that from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah, I look forward to seeing everybody there.
Sure do.
Let's see if we got any more questions in here.
Can I ask them for a hashtag while you're looking for questions, or is that going to mess you up?
Sure, yeah. Oh, no, I'm way up here. I'm at 750.
Also, guys,
give me in the chat box a solution architect career mistakes. Everybody, solution architect career mistakes. If you can pop that in the chat box, I know you're awake, alert, and oriented. Something we medical professionals are really want to know. That's why they say, do you know what the year is? Do you know who the president is? Do you know what time it is? Because we want to know that you're oriented to person, place, or time. So some of you are here with a solution architect career mistakes.
All right. So let's see. We're looking forward to it, Noah. Yes, we are. All right. It is coming to an end. And Chris just lost the urge to sleep. Oh, we've got plenty more for you to watch on our channel.
Oh, yeah.
We sure do. I think we made 200-300 videos last year, maybe more. We're doing a BGP workshop this week. Sign up for it, everybody. We're doing a subnetting workshop this week. It's free. Sign up, everybody. We're doing a free AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate course next week. And we won't just teach you the name of a service and how to configure it like the other guys. We'll teach you what the technology is, how it works, and why companies should use it.
All right.
Thank you so much, Collins.
So let's see. What does Robert have to say? After joining Mike's program, I've learned what I know and what I do not know. I know I have people in my life that understand what is in my head. I love my new family. Thank you, Go Cloud Careers team.
Thank you, Robert. Every day has been so wonderful to work with you.
Yeah, he's awesome. I really like speaking with Robert.
And he's in Dallas, which is a really good spot to be a cloud architect or solution architect. Lots of big businesses there. There you put it.
Yeah. All right. So I think it's time to wrap it up. And I don't have anything to add to the conversation. I think we've covered plenty of great topics. If I say anything, I'm going to continue to repeat myself. So I am going to bow out here and offer it to Alonzo and then to Mike to close us out.
Well, what can I say? I always have a great time. I think because of everything that we've gone through, whether it's sickness or life events or whatever, I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad that we have people that we've spoken with for weeks, months, and those that are new. I'm always happy to be here. I'm always happy to help. And just the conversations that we have about the career, tech career mistakes, and being able to offer what I've known along with these gentlemen has just been really, it's just, we're always learning, no matter how long you've been in a career, or there's always something new to learn, especially ideas to bounce off of each other and seeing what other people's perspectives are, which creates and generates even better and greater ideas. So it's the community, it's you guys that really help inspire me, because when we keep hearing cloud hired from people that have shared their good news and those that we know that we can't share as of yet, it's what drives us. It's what creates a continued sense of urgency so that I'm able to learn and grow, be able to share and work with these gentlemen and just keep going. So to that effect, I'm good. Mike, what about you?
I think we had a pretty fun and lively discussion tonight. I also saw a tremendous number of career questions, and I want to answer all of them tomorrow in our cloud career question and answer session. Chris provided the link that I want to make sure we do this. I really want to say that all of you, 100% of all of you, can achieve whatever you want to do. Literally speaking, unless you are locked up in prison, there's nothing holding you back. There's literally nothing. Now, here's the thing. If you have a dream and that dream becomes a goal and that goal becomes a plan, and then you build the perfect plan and you execute that plan, you'll win.
And you have the right expectations.
Yes. And you must have the right expectations.
And you're communicating the right expectations as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you've got to have the right expectations. And, here's the thing. And I guess I'll end on this in the solution architect career mistakes, cloud architect career mistakes. People come to me and they say, I took this course, I studied, I learned. And I ask them, did you train in design? Did you train in presentation skills? Did you train your sales skills? Did you train your executive presence, your CXO relevancy, your negotiation skills, your executive communication skills? Did you train your network and data center skills? Did you train design skills? Or did you train, here's the name of a service and how to configure that service for a job that needs you to design, present, and sell? And that's really the key. What we do, which is a little different than everybody else, the reason our students are so wildly successful, and you can see lots of success stories on our YouTube channel, is the same reason I was successful when I left the practice of internal medicine to network architecture many years ago. I became a master at my job. I don't know anybody else's job at all. You want to ask me how to write a script? I don't know. You want to ask me how to code? I don't know. You want to ask me how to use Terraform? I don't know. Why? I'm an architect. I design, present, and sell. So when people take a lot of training, it has to be the right training. If your job is to fly an airplane and you've been trained how to be a lawyer, nothing against lawyers, but you're going to be crashing that airplane because you're not trained. When you go on an architect interview and you can talk about your coding, your configuring, your DevOps, maintenance, and you don't know how to design, they can't hire you because we don't touch the technology, we design it. So train the way, and when I learned martial arts, they said, train the way you fight. Instead of doing these beautiful movements in Israel, they trained us to go to the eyes, the nose, the throat, the groin, the soft targets with little joints to break. And they trained us this way. And that way, in a real fight, we knew what to do. They trained us in the dark. They would drag us underwater in a choke and make us fight our way out of it. When we trained with rubber, we didn't train with rubber knives for the stabbings, we trained with stun guns. And it hurt when you got hit. We trained the way you fight because you trained the way we fight. By doing that, we could train to win a fight. I've studied in all martial arts, but the ones in Israel I like best because it was exactly the way to fight. So here's the thing. Train for your career. Don't do the things that aren't relevant to your career because they don't prepare you for your career. Master your career. Become great at your career. Only your career. With a laser-like focus. What's a laser? Nothing more than focused light. Wait, a light bulb doesn't burn through steel, but the focused light can. It's just light. Focus yourself like that laser. Master your skills. Become an expert at your job. Focus 100% of the time on getting better. Let your competition diffuse their energy. Learn this skill, this skill, this skill. Get all these totally stupid certifications that are irrelevant for their job while you're laser focused. Now when it goes to the promotion, who do you hire? The person that's the best at their job or the person that doesn't know their job? Who do you hire? I hire the person that can do it. Like I asked you before in a LinkedIn post this week, you have an airplane and you got a pilot and you got to plan on the things that are going wrong. You can have two pilots. Pilot one can be from the Navy. She worked for the Navy as a fighter pilot for 20 years, and now she's an airline captain for 20 years. Pilot two can be a doctor, a lawyer, an educator, a sports strength and conditioning coach, a dog walker, an L pilot. Who do you want flying that plane if 3 of those 4 engines go down? I want the expert pilot. And here's the reason. That person will land that plane safely. Hey, wait, it happened with, what was that guy, Captain Phillips, that landed a plane in the Potomac River when the engine failed? Because all he did his whole life was a pilot. Now, what if that pilot was a hobbyist that did 20 other things? That plane would have crashed. All those people would have died. So now you know how to train to master your career. Chris can provide a link or a channel for the course. When people ask how a course costs, you can just click on that link and your answer will be solved. Because, and there's a promotion that Chris posted the coupon, so they can provide that for you as well. I just want to get you all hired. I want you to get promoted. So build your best career. Don't make the common solution architect career mistakes we talked about, the common solution the cloud architect career mistakes. Train for your job, master your job, and build the career of your dreams. This is Michael Gibbs. I'm the founder and CEO of Go Cloud Careers. I've been in tech now for 25 years and helping others get their first tech job or promoted for 2 decades. Chris is my chief operating officer. He's got a wealth of leadership knowledge and operations knowledge. Alonzo's another leader. He's part of my C-suite team. He's got a wealth of experience, a wealth of leadership knowledge, and a wealth of knowledge. And that's why we're here completely free to help you build your best career. Have a great night, everybody. All your career questions, Alonzo and I are going to take care of them in the morning, and it's going to be fun. We'll take on here. And if you want to really get down and deep and get intimate with us and ask some questions, on Thursday, join our How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar. And guess what? We'll talk on Zoom, and you can ask us questions. It's going to be lots of fun. So have a great night.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night, day or afternoon.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, if you can give us a like, comment, or subscribe, awesome.
And we'll see you in the morning and tomorrow afternoon for the subnetting workshop.
Fun now.